Hi there, thanks for joining us on Let's Talk Taste with Sherry, where we're saving the earth one flavor at a time by gathering community to share wisdom around the natural connections between our innate sense of taste and flavors that are grown in healthy regenerative soils. Welcome. Hi there, Sherry Hess with the Flavor Remedy. Thanks for listening to another episode of Let's Talk Taste with Sherry, where flavor saves the earth. All right, you guys, I am coming to you live from the beautiful tropical island of Cozumel, Mexico. And you may hear a little waterfall in the background. You might hear some Spanish conversation. We are poolside and just living the life. Okay, so such a beautiful place to talk about flavor here on a tropical island where fish is fresh and everything you come to enjoy on vacation is just, food for the gods. So what I want to talk to you about today is where do we go from here, right? Where do we take our sense of taste to a place where we can learn to trust what healthy eating is, right? Where is that connection? How do we start to recognize flavor as the body language that helps us eat healthy, that helps us to trust our bodies? So you have to start with where we are, right? You have to start with what we know about flavor. We have to start with what we know about our own experiences of eating. If you're actually even slowing down enough to experience flavor at all, right? This is step one, by the way. But recognizing that our sense of taste is truly what we are born with to help us detect nutrition. It is why we have it. We're lucky enough that it also is a pleasurable experience, right? It's also delicious and a great experience, but it's wisdom. There's wisdom there in flavor. There's wisdom in what we eat and what we choose to eat each day. The bottom line is, the reason I say that flavor is the remedy to so many things is because we're not giving it reverence. And the way we start to recognize that flavor can guide us down a healthy path is to become aware of what flavors we're consuming and the fact that all the flavors that we experience have benefits to them. Right now, what we're allowing and what's happening in our world is that the two flavors that I call them emotionally charged flavors, the two flavors of salty and sweet, right? And they're emotionally charged for several reasons. The biggest one being that they're delicious, right? Like, this is a flavor that I want to experience. I want to taste sweetness. I want to taste a good salty chip. I want to taste these things that are a pleasurable experience for me, right? This is, I'm human. I'm tasting flavors. This is amazing. This is also not the only flavors we should be experiencing. This is also something that the flavor industry understands that we as humans lean into as a pleasurable experience. What's missing is the other flavors. And what's missing is the fact that most of the sweet and salty flavors that we're experiencing are not backed by nutrition. So if we're going to give this sense of taste, this reverence, this acknowledgement, this deep bow that it is a powerful tool that we're born with, we have to recognize that it's not just about the salty and the sweet. And if there's one flavor that stands out for me as where we can do way better in our health, it's in bitter. And we don't think we like bitter. I mean, we've got so many sayings, why is she so bitter, right? Like there's a lot of negativity built around the word bitter. The bitter just sounds nasty and poisonous and all the things. And you will get that kind of information from people as well. But here's the thing about bitter. Here's what we're missing about bitter. Here's what's amazing about bitter is that bitter is medicine. When I talk to people about bitter, the phrase that I like to use to help remind them that it's beneficial is think about the phrase, a bitter pill to swallow. Now, of course, thinking about that from, the contextual concept of, oh my God, I gotta consume something that I don't want. But if you think about it from the aspect of it's medicine, bitter flavors are literally medicinal. Bitter flavors are like bitter plants in the world are literally what we're creating medicine out of, right? And it doesn't have to be you don't have to be an herbalist. You don't have to have lots of, studies and wisdom and knowledge around what these flavors can do for you. You can simply go into your herb garden on your kitchen counter and pull a leaf off of an herb, and you experience the flavor. And maybe it's intense if you're not used to eating bitter flavors. But let's say, for instance, you chose rosemary. And I love rosemary right now because rosemary is actually rosemanol, which is the compound in rosemary, is actually being studied as a defense against COVID. So I keep rosemary around all the time. And I have rosemary growing in my backyard. If you were to just taste rosemary, and the bitterness is easy to detect. But what also happens when you experience rosemary is you get the aromatic, almost, you can breathe it. You can almost sense your sinuses opening and your lungs opening when you experience it. So flavor, it's not just about the bitter, it's the complete sensation that your body experiences. And here's the other cool thing about bitter is that even if you don't, like I always tell people, you don't have to take a whole bowl of arugula and eat an entire bowl of arugula straight up with nothing on it just to get the benefits. The beauty of the human body is that we actually also have bitter receptors inside of our bodies. So we get the flavor experience, but if you were to cover that up, and this is another thing that the flavor industry likes to do and knows how to do, and there are benefits to it, right? Because covering up bitter flavors will make it more appealing to people. But if we could instead of always trying to mask it, instead embrace it and enjoy it and experience it, even if it's on small amounts, then you get to teach your body. Then you get to give those taste buds the reverence they deserve. You get to taste it. And maybe it doesn't taste good to you at first. And maybe it doesn't taste good to you at second. And maybe the third time you're like, I like a little rosemary with my cracked pepper on my steak, right? So we need to expose ourselves. We need to expose our palates to more diverse flavor. And bitter is a beautiful, beautiful way to bring in the medicinal benefits, the detoxifying benefits, and it goes beyond that. But the other thing that bitter does, here's a little secret that the food industry doesn't want you to know either, is bitter helps you to feel satiated. So if you include bitter foods in your diet while you're eating something, you will feel full quicker. It helps you. And it's because of that medicinal level. It's actually because of that medicine. So when you take medicine, right, you want to take just the right dose. So when you're eating bitter foods and all of a sudden you feel full with less food, it's because your body is picking up on that medicinal aspect and saying, okay, we're good here. I don't need any more bitter. Thank you very much. I feel good, right? Like, this is what we can learn from bitter flavors. This is what we can teach our bodies by experiencing flavor and listening to the signals that go beyond just your taste buds. That's where the magic lies, and that is where the flavor remedy is. So how can you put more bitter in your diet?